Greetings fellow guitar travellers, it's Rowan J Parker here and welcome back to Music Theory 101, and this is episode 1, part 1 of Understanding Jazz Harmony. Alright, so before we get into it, I'd like to encourage you to have a look at my website. That's www.rowanjparker.com. Great site with tons of jazz stuff on it as well as rock. There's a store where you can buy things. You can subscribe to the website just by sticking your email address in the subscribe box. Hit subscribe, you get lots of free stuff. And you can also hit me up for Skype lessons via the site. Well, enough of shameless self-promotion. Let's get straight into today's lesson, Understanding Jazz Harmony. Off we go. The reason that I'm doing these lessons is because I get asked quite frequently about how to play over changes and how to understand harmony and what to play over what. And guys who are rock players who are trying to get into jazz seem to have a fantastically hard time with it because they don't really understand what to do. So I'm here to help you out and give you a simple, dare I say simplistic, overview of how to understand the harmony from a lot of common standards. So what we're going to go through today is 3 of the most fundamental and basic chord types, and we're going to have a look at a couple of standard tunes and we're going to analyse their chord structure so we can see what the chords are, how they're moving, what keys are in and what sort of chord progressions we come across. Alright, so hope that's clear enough. So let's just begin right away. Let's just concern ourselves today with just 3 chord types, right? And the 3 chord types we're going to be thinking about are minor 7th chords, dominant 7th chords, and major 7th chords. So for instance, on D, let's have D minor 7, D dominant 7, and D major 7. So all we're going to attempt to do in this lesson is to understand the function of each of these chords. So let's look at our first chord type, possibly the most common overall chord type in jazz, which is minor 7th. Now, normally in jazz, a minor 7th chord functions as the 2 chord, the 2nd chord of a major key. It can function as other chords, but primarily, most of the time, whenever you see a minor 7, it's functioning as 2. So let me just clarify what that means. If we've got D minor 7, it's the 2nd chord of which key? Well, to find out the key that is the 2nd chord of, all we need to do is go down a tone, because the distance from the 2nd degree of a scale to the 1st degree of a scale is 1 tone. So the key that D minor 7 belongs to is actually C major. So this is the 2 chord of the key of C. Alright? Let's give you another couple of chords to think about. What happens if we've got, say, E minor 7? Well, again, we'll regard that as a 2 chord, the 2nd chord of some key. Which key is it the 2nd chord of? The answer would be, going down a tone, it's the 2 chord of D. And let's just give you one more to try and figure out yourself. Let's try a trickier one. What about, say, C minor 7? If we regard that as a 2, what's its 1? Think, engage brain, go down. It's that note which you'll all know is a B flat. So that's how it works for minor 7th chords for the vast majority of the time whenever you come across these chords in standard tunes. Minor 7th chords, especially minor 7th chords that just appear out of nowhere, apropos of nothing, almost always sound like chord 2. Alright, okay, let's look at the next chord type, which is dominant 7th. Now, whenever we come across dominant 7th chords in our jazz standard tunes, most commonly they function as 5s. In fact, whether it's a resolving 5 or not, it's still a 5. So dominant 7 is chord 5. So let's ask ourselves then, D7, what key is D7th in? Well, let's just think. D, this is now on the 5th degree of the scale, right? So to get back to the key that it's in, we just need to go down the scale. So from the 5th degree to the 4th degree is a tone, 4th to the 3rd is a semitone, 3rd to 2nd is a tone, from 2nd to the parent key, the root tonic, is a tone, and that gives us G. So D7 is the 5th chord of the key of G. And you can probably hear that quite clearly if I play D7 and then G. It resolves 5-1. Okay, so let's try another couple of dominant chords just to make sure you understand. Let's try this one. What about A7? Right, now if that's the 5th chord of a key, what is it the 5th chord of? Well, we can go down a 5th if we like. We can also go up a 4th. We can go from the 5th degree to the 6th degree to the 7th degree to the octave. Alright, and if we do that, going this way this time, we're going to reach answer, which is D. So A7 is the fifth chord of the key of D major. Alright, let's give you one more random one to try. What about, say, F7? Right, it's a 5 chord. Which key is the 5 chord of? We can go down a 5th or up a 4th. Let's see now, just going across. What's that note? B flat again. So F7 is the 5 chord of B flat. So whenever you come across dominant chords, they function as 5. And the last chord type, major 7, well, it's very easy. Whenever you come across a major 7, it functions as 1. It functions as the key chord, the first chord of the key. So it really doesn't take a genius to figure this one out. D major 7, what key is it the first chord of? Well, the answer would be D major. Right, dead straightforward. C major 7, what key is it the first chord of? C. B flat major 7, what key is B flat? Very, very easy. So that's our principal functions, 2, 5 and 1, minor 7, dominant 7 and major 7. So now we understand that about how chords function, what we need to start doing is looking for patterns in tunes. And so we're going to introduce this tune. This is an incredibly well-known jazz standard tune. It's called Tune Up, which is a Miles Davis tune. And I'm going to outline the chords for you, and then we're going to do what's called a harmonic analysis. So let's do that. So let's have a brief look at the changes for Tune Up. First of all, I will play you one complete chorus of the song with some very basic chords and basic chordal accompaniment, just so you can have a listen to the changes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one complete run through, one complete chorus. So let's start just telling you what the chords are, and we'll start pulling it to bits and analysing it. We have the following chords: E minor 7, A7, D major 7, and then D minor 7, G7, C major 7, C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, E minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, A7, and then on the second half, E minor 7, A7, D major 7, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, and then E minor 7, A7, D major 7. Okay, now there's some patterns that we want to start looking for here. Incredibly common patterns in jazz are turnarounds known as 2, 5, 1, and also 2, 5, and then also one called 1, 6, 2, 5. These are the three most common chord patterns or chord progressions you come across in standard tunes, and you want to be looking out for these all the time, because the vast majority of standard tunes, they just consist of these turnarounds, albeit in different keys. And this is a great, if albeit simple, example of that. So let's just start by looking at the first 4 bars. The first chord is E minor 7. So what do we know about minor 7th chords? Well, we know that they function as chord 2. So if an E minor 7 is a 2 chord, what is it the 2 of? Well, we need to go down a tone. So we know it's the 2 of D. So in that case, if E minor 7 is the 2 of D, I wonder if A7 is the 5 of D. Is it the 5th chord of the key of D? And the answer is yes, it is. And then obviously we go to D major 7. Is that the first chord of the key of D? I mean, duh. Yes, of course it is. Right, so we can see that the first 4 bars is merely a 2, 5, 1 in the key of D major. 2nd chord, 5th chord, 1st chord of the key of D. Very straightforward indeed. So we've actually established the tonality for our first 4 bars. We know the first 4 bars is in the key of D major. And if we're really desperate, we just know that we can play a D major scale over those first 4 bars and everything will work. It's hunky-dory. Alright, now what about the next 4 bars? Well, it goes D minor 7, G7, C major 7. Now it should be pretty obvious to you that the chord of D minor 7 cannot be in the same key as D major 7, because they don't sound related when you play them side by side. sound like they belong together. And besides, we know that minor 7th chord's function is 2. So D minor 7 chord can't be the 2 of D major. It just can't be. So what is D minor 7 chord the 2 of? It's the 2 of C. So in that case, does this line, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, all belong in the key of C? And the answer is yes, of course it does. This is 2, this is 5, and this is 1 in the key of C. 2, 5, 1 and C. So our second line of tune up, the next 4 bars, bars 5 to 8, is 2, 5, 1 in the key of C. Awesome. Let's look at the next one. It goes to C minor 7. Well, again, pretty much the same thing here. There's no way that C minor 7 can be in the key of C major. C minor is definitely not in the key of C major. So that rules that out. So this must be a 2. And what is it a 2 of? Well, we know that C minor 7 is a 2 of B flat. So we're going to have C minor 7 going to F7, which is, guess what? Yes, it's 5 chord. And then going to B flat major 7, which is its 1. So we have yet another 2, 5, 1. So far we've got E minor 7, A7, D major 7, 2, 5, 1 in D, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, which is 2, 5, 1 in C, C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7 is 2, 5, 1 in B flat. So all very easy. So we can navigate through the first 12 bars just with 3 different major scales if we want. We can use D major on this, C major on this, and B flat major on this. Fantastic. Now let's look at the turnaround. Turnaround is a little bit trickier and requires a bit more careful thought. Turnaround is E minor 7, F dominant 7, B flat major 7, A7. Bit of an interesting and odd sounding turnaround actually. And your ear will probably go, well, those chords don't really sound very related. And you'd be right with that, because they aren't very related at all. Let's just figure out what's going on. Right, E minor 7, we know that's a 2. E minor 7 is the 2 chord of D major. Alright, so for this chord we're in D major. But then the next chord is F7. Well, there's no way that F7's in the key of D major. For a start, a D major scale contains the note of F sharp. So it can't be any sort of F chord at all. So that's out the window. So what can it be? Well, we know that F7 is a 5 chord, so it has a 5 function. So what is it the 5 of? F7 is a 5 of B flat. Okay, right, so we're in the key of B flat here. Now, does it stay in the key of B flat or does it change key? Let's think what the next chord is. Oh, it's B flat major 7. Alright, so that's obviously the 1 chord of the key of B flat. So this chord progression now, F7 to B flat major 7, is chord 5 to chord 1, the key of B flat. So far we've got 2 in D, 5, 1 in B flat, and then the last chord, A7. It's back to a 5 chord. What key is the 5 chord of? It's the 5 chord of D. So we're returning to the key of D at the end. So 5 in D. So to complete the turnaround, it's 2 in D, 5, 1 in B flat, and then 5 in D. Alright. So it's not as hard as all that. We just step back and think exactly what keys these chords belong to. Now on the repeat, the second half, everything really just does repeat. It's E minor 7, A7, D major 7, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, then finishes off with E minor 7, A7, D major 7. So that would be 2, 5, 1 in D, 2, 5, 1 in C, 2, 5, 1 B flat, finishing with 2, 5, 1 in D again. And that completes the harmonic analysis for tune up. And you can do this with absolutely any standard tune. And in fact, the more that you do it, the quicker you will get at seeing the harmony. And eventually you'll just be able to look at the tune and instantly recognize the patterns. So that's an easy example. Let's move along and look at a slightly trickier example. We're going to look at the great Tadd Dameron tune called Ladybird. Now let's listen to one chorus of this Tadd Dameron tune Ladybird. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's once through. Now your ear will probably tell you right away that not all of those chords sound related, and initially with jazz harmony you might find it a little bit off-putting if you're a rock player and used to playing in a single key all the time. When you hear all these key changes, proper word for that being modulations. We hear all these modulations coming at you thick and fast. It can be sometimes a little bit disorientating or jarring, but once you get used to this sort of harmony, it's actually very, very interesting and refreshing, and you'll get extremely bored by listening to single key diatonic harmony. You go back to your 3-chord rock and it just seems tedious and dull beyond belief. Anyway, an aside, let's just look at the chords. We've got C major 7, then F minor 7, B flat 7, back to C major 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, then A minor 7, D7, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, E flat 7, then back to the beginning. Alright, so obviously that's a lot more complex, but nevertheless we can still use the same procedure to analyse it chord by chord, figure out what keys we're in, what the relationships are. The patterns we're looking for patterns of 2-5 and 2-5-1. Alright, so let's begin. C major 7, what key is C major 7 in? Well, this is a very easy one, obviously. This is the 1 chord, the first chord of the key of C major. So it's 1 in C. And then we go to F minor 7. Now, the question is, are we still in the same key? Are we in the key of C or are we not in the key of C? And the answer is no, we're not in the key of C anymore. Key of C does not contain F minor or F minor 7. And besides, we know that minor 7 is typically a 2. So F minor 7 is definitely not the 2 of C. So what is it the 2 of? Well, go back to tone. It's the 2 of E flat. Alright, so F minor 7 is the 2 of E flat. Now let's look at the next chord. The B flat dominant 7th chord. We need to ask ourselves, is the F minor 7 chord and the B flat 7th chord, are they related to each other? Well, if you just use your ear will probably tell you. Yeah, they do seem to fit together. There seems to be some sort of relationship, doesn't there? Yeah. So B flat 7 is the 5 chord. What key is it the 5 chord of? The answer is E flat. So those two chords, F minor 7, B flat 7, are related to each other. They are the 2-5 of the key of E flat. Now the next question is, does the B flat 7 resolve onto E flat? Which you might expect it to do if you're looking for a 2-5-1, and the answer is no, it doesn't, because it goes back to C major 7. So in that case, the C major 7 is yet another key change, and we return to the key of C with 1 in the key of C. So far we've got 1 in C, 2-5 in E flat, then returning to 1 in C. And here's the next little bit. It is B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7. So let's just have a think about this. B flat minor 7 is the 2. What key is it the 2 of? Hopefully we're getting faster at this by now. It's the 2 of A flat. Right, now given that it is the 2 of A flat, does that mean that these chords are all related together? And this is something I typically do when I look at standard tunes. I won't just look at one chord, I'll look ahead several chords to see if there are chords which are related together. Then I'll know that they are, and it makes playing over the tune a lot easier. Also means I'm anticipating what's coming up next. So B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, absolutely in the same key. This is 2 and 5 and 1 of the key of A flat major. So for this bit of the tune, we've changed it to key of A flat. Alright, awesome. Now the next chords are A minor 7 and D7. Right, now is A minor 7 in the key of A flat major? No. Clearly you can hear that audibly. You listen to the two chords, they don't sound related. And besides, we know that minor 7 is going to be a 2. What is it the 2 of? It's the 2 of G. So A minor 7 is a 2 of G. Is D7 the 5 chord of G? It is. So this is 2, 5 of G. Alright? And then we're on D minor 7. Right, now is that in the key of G? No, D minor 7, that's a 2 again, isn't it? 2, it's the 2 of C. Alright, so this is 2 in C, and what about the G7 chord, which is next? Is that 5 of C? The answer is yes, it is. So we have 2, 5 in C. Alright, now, this seems like quite a lot now, doesn't it? So let's just recap from the beginning before we do the turnaround. So we have 1 in C, and then 2, 5 in E flat, 1 in C, and then 2, 5, 1, A flat, then 2, 5, G, 2, 5 in C. And all we're left with is the turnaround, which is a bit of an interesting and complex turnaround actually. It's C major 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, D flat 7. Now let's just think about that. So C major 7 is obviously 1 in C, so actually when we had that D minor 7, G7 chord, it did actually resolve to its 1 because it went to C, so we had a 2, 5, 1 there. After the C major 7 it goes to E flat 7. Is that related? The answer is no. E flat 7 is not related to the key of C, it's not even in a C major scale. So this is the 5 chord of A flat, which it goes to next. That is the next chord. So we've got there 5, 1 in A flat, and this is actually extremely like the turnaround we came across in Tune Up. That's why I picked these two tunes, because the turnarounds are similar. Alright, E flat 7, A flat 7, 5, 1, A flat, and then the last chord is another oddball stuck in the middle there, D flat 7. Well, is that in the key of A flat? No, it's not. And is it related to the chord that comes after it, C? No, it isn't. So what is this chord doing? Well, D flat, that's the 5 chord of which key? G flat. Alright, so very odd non-diatonic modulation. There actually is a relationship between D flat 7 and the home chord, but I'm not going to get into it today. It's called tritone substitution. We're going to ignore that today. There is a more of a relationship than you might think. But for today, regarding this as a 5 chord, it's the 5 of G flat, and then that takes us back to 1 in C. Alright, now that's a complete harmonic analysis. Let's go over it one more time. Have 1 in C, 2, 5, E flat, 1 in C, 2, 5, 1, A flat, 2, 5, G, 2, 5, 1 in C, then 5, 1, A flat, and then 5 in G flat, and then back to 1 in C, and the whole thing goes round. So one of the ways you could try and pilot through the harmony if you're trying to improvise over the tune is incredibly simplistic, is just to get the major scale of whichever key you're in at that particular moment. So, you know, the idiot's way of trying to say that, the idiot's way of improvising through this tune would be to go, right, C major scale for that, and then, well, that's an E flat major scale, and then back to C, and then this is an A flat major scale for this bit, and then a G major scale for this bit, and then a C major scale for this bit, and then an A flat major scale for that bit, and then for this tiny little chord at the end, wow, G flat for like 2 beats, that's going to be tough to get, and then back to the top. So that's one way you can play through the standards in an extremely simplistic way, but you have to have this level of harmonic understanding to get any further. So this is really absolutely jazz chordal theory 101. Alright, well that will wrap it up for today's lesson, I think. In subsequent lessons we'll be getting into more complex standard tunes and, you know, introducing some other sounds and helping you to understand how the entire palette works. But for today it's really just very basic, major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, because a lot of the time that's all you need to know. That'll take you through a huge number of standard tunes. Okay, that'll do for the theory class this week. Don't forget to check out my website. It's been Rowan J. Parker presenting Music Theory 101, Understanding Jazz Harmony, Part 1, Episode 1. See you next week. Farewell.